Chinese New Year is coming up. I'm very excited. It's Year of the Horse. That's my zodiac. I got myself a fun little bell. It's gonna be great. Let's address the first elephant in the room. Clearly, I am not Chinese. But in preparation for celebration, I have been exposed to the discourse that has happened over the past few years again, and that is the discourse between calling it Chinese New Year or Lunar New Year. And I'm going to do my whitest because apparently y'all can't listen to Chinese people to explain why it is Chinese New Year and not Lunar New Year. The Lunar New Year focuses on the lunar cycle, the moon cycle, and can be more closely related to Islam than the actual, Chinese calendar. The Chinese calendar does take into account moon cycles, but also solar cycles, leap years. Calling the Chinese New Year Lunar New Year oversimplifies the ancient Chinese calendar as a whole. The Tiangan Dizhi, or the 10 heavenly stems and 12 earthly branches, this explains why my year of birth, the 2002, would be like water horse, but this year's horse is fire horse, which is particularly auspicious. The date of the Chinese New Year is different every year, and in places like Korea and Vietnam, which celebrate their own versions of the holiday, they still rely on China's official date from Nanjing in order to celebrate their holiday. If you were celebrating a solely Lunar New Year, the date of that Lunar New Year would not coincide with the date of the Chinese New Year. So calling the Chinese New Year the Lunar New Year is both considered inaccurate and an oversimplification of a very complex holiday. That's also why it's called Spring Festival or Qinji, because again, the beginning of spring isn't the same every year. It's on different days, same as Chinese New Year. Now sometimes there can be a bit of an issue with Qinji. If everyone started calling it Qinji, it would be kind of like a tacit admission that Vietnamese and Korean people are kind of celebrating their own version of the holiday, when in actuality, they're celebrating the Chinese New Year. According to Chinese netizens that I have seen on Xiaohongshu. Now, there's a whole other side of this coin. A lot of Chinese people feel that Lunar New Year is a very westernized concept. Chinese people take great pride in being Chinese. And Chinese people don't want to exclude anybody from celebrating their New Year. But it is incredibly important that credit is given where credit is due. Lunar New Year erases China and lumps everybody, all Asian countries, into a convenient little box for them. The attempt of a external Western influence trying to come in and sanitize the term to make it more palpable for people around the world feels kind of insulting. True inclusivity allows a culture to accurately name and represent itself. Now that being said, 新年快乐! And also, 万事如意.